My name's Rhapsody, welcome back to Slay the Spire. We're going to be doing Ascension 20 custom mode for the Ironclad. What we're going to be doing here is a draft rather than a sealed deck. So previously and recently, we have crafted a deck from 30 random cards that shows you the 30 cards on the board. You select 10 of them, you go from there. However, what we're going to be doing this time is draft instead, which gives you less information. It more similarly resembles an actual draft scenario where you're handed a pack, you choose a card, you pass the pack on, because you get 15 selections of 3 cards. So it's just like a normal card selection 15 times at the start of the run. So that means that this deck is going to be probably less powerful and obviously will have less of a heavily supported strategy than you might get in something like sealed deck. So what we're adding in as well, especially because we're doing Ascension 20 rather than 15, is Vintage. Normal enemies drop relics instead of cards, as well as Ending enables the final act. So the idea in general here is that the draft in the first 5-10 minutes of the game is probably going to be one of the most important things in the entire episode. And then past that, we're trying to balance adding extra cards to our deck in the most difficult ways possible, because obviously we have to fight elites to do it, because we have Vintage on, or go to shops, which could be in question marks, which themselves could be bad events. We're going to have to balance the power that we need to gain from that against the consistent power that we are getting from Vintage, right? So I spoke recently in a daily about the fact that draft or sealed deck, because you're starting without the 10 basic cards in your deck, or 12 in the case of the silent, and are instead starting with much better cards, you start out much more powerful than the average deck. Obviously. Kind of a trivial fact. But when Vintage is on, that kind of is your deck. You can mold it a little, but you build the main basis of your deck really, really early on. And you're not getting more cards to bolster it or mold it further. However, you are getting the relics. So you have a power spike at the start from the selection of your deck, and you have a power spike at the end when you have all of these ridiculous relics. And the idea is just kind of trying to traverse the murky middle ground where you might not have enough cards or relics to do anything to anyone. Also, it is an Ascension 20, so wee bit rough. All right. Armaments Intimidate Clash. So each of these selections can't be made in a vacuum. I do have to understand that the deck already has an Ascend's Bane in it, so Clash is really difficult to put in this deck. Intimidate and Armaments are both pretty useful. However, I'm also not likely to pick up that many cards for the rest of the run because of Vintage, so taking Armaments that relies on me having a bunch of cards in hand unupgraded seems not as useful when I'm quite likely to upgrade a significant majority of my deck. However, I'm not going to do that early, so then Armaments could be useful. You know, it just swings back and forth like that. Yeah, there's the maximum of 3 elites on this floor. However, there's a much better path with a bunch of question marks. Only this 1 elite, 2 rests. 2 more rests later, an extra elite. Oh yeah, we're definitely going down that path. So we actually get 4 upgrades here on the first floor. It's a good thing I've looked at this because I'm definitely not taking Armaments as a direct result. Perfected Strike versus Headbutt versus Iron Wave. So obviously the big problem here is that we're never going to get enough strikes for Perfected Strike to be a viable strategy. So it's either Iron Wave or Headbutt. Iron Wave is more powerful against elites. Headbutt is more powerful if I have like a win strat already decided and it hinges upon a single card. So headbutting to put like a limit break back atop the deck or something like that. I suspect at the moment I'll take the Iron Wave. That's a Carnage. Good damage. Anger, Seeing Red. So one thing I'm already noticing is a lack of defense in this deck. We have 5 block from an Iron Wave, and we have the ability to possibly weaken our enemies if they're not already weakened. I feel like Seeing Red is guaranteed to be pretty useful. As the Ironclad, I'm probably going to get more expensive cards, and obviously I don't have any of the basic strikes or defense in my deck, diluting the costs down. I could take Anger if I need damage, but I feel like Seeing Red is going to be harder to get than Anger, and I feel like Anger is probably going to show up again. Cleave gives us little access to AoEs. Second Wind is not a useful way to generate block. It's something that you put in a deck after it has the ability to benefit from second wind, rather than you take second wind and then find a way to benefit from it. Take cleave. Probably another cleave here. Yeah. Having good access to AoE is pretty important. Spot weakness. Unfortunately, that's up against Shrug It Off, and I need Shrug It Off. But spot weakness gives me the ability to win fights. Shrug It Off is really important, though. If I don't have spot weakness, I never win a boss fight. I win elite fights without it, but I never win a boss fight without that spot weakness in this deck right now. That just made the Heavy Blade and Sword Boomerang, actually, funnily enough, as well. Significantly better options. Let me go for the Sword Boomerang or the Heavy Blade here, actually. Sword Boomerang, because I already have a large amount of aggressive mana cost in the deck, so I kind of want to keep that a little low and then fill the rest with defensive. So, let's actually have a little bit of a short discussion about Sword Boomerang versus Heavy Blade. And, I mean, Flex is in the middle of both of them on the screen right now, so it's the perfect time to have this discussion. Which of them carries strength better? So you look at Heavy Blade and it says deals 14 damage, strength affects this card 3 times, upgrades to affect it 5 times. However, strength is applied every single time that card does an instance of damage. So 3 times, or deal 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times, is affected by strength 3 times. You can consider it. Upgrade affected by 4 times. Now, obviously, this Sword Boomerang is only affected 4 times. Heavy Blade, when upgraded, is affected 5 times. Clearly, Heavy Blade is better. But Sword Boomerang costs half as much and also has the ability to hit multiple targets. If you have enough strength, like 50 strength or something like that, like you're using Limit Break and things like that, then Heavy Blade will insta-kill 1 target. Sword Boomerang will kill all of them. Take Sword Boomerang. Uppercut versus Power Through and True Grit. Power Through is a huge defensive option, but in a deck that is very likely to be short on cards, getting 2 wounds and then having those in the cycle is real bad. True Grit is useful, but again, in a deck that is very, very small in size, what's True Grit gonna burn? I think I have to take Power Through. I don't want to, but I want to take the Uppercut, but I think I have to take Power Through, otherwise I have no defense in the entire deck. And then past this point, I'm looking for ways to benefit from those wounds or remove them, ideally. Well, there's Evolve. Whenever you draw a status, draw an extra card, so thank you. That's another Evolve, that's too much. Body Slam doesn't make any sense here, though. I mean, I could put the second Evolve in here. I need a way to get stuff out of my hand. I'll take the second Evolve, fine. Entrench, Clash, Dropkick, yikes. Yeah, Clash is never triggered here at all. I think I take Entrench. Just because Dropkick does nothing. Entrench might do something later. Combust, Warcry, and Perfected Strike. Combust would only be taken here if I already had access to Rupture. I already have 2 Cleaves and a Sword Boomerang. My AoE is fine. Take Warcry. Shockwave versus Havoc. It's Shockwave. Oh, and is this our... Yeah, this is our final card. Anger, Searing Blow, and Thunderclap. So we do have 4 upgrades here on the first floor. 5, actually, if you count. And you should. I could go Searing Blow. But this deck is missing defense, and it has a lot of offense. Searing Blow fixes none of those problems. In fact, it exacerbates them. I suspect what I do here is I take Anger, and then with the 2 Evolves and Anger and Power Through, I cycle to get a bunch of... I don't know what this deck does. Don't talk to me. I need to figure it out. Ugh. Shouldn't take too long to figure out, though. Yikes. Yeah, just gonna have to cop that one. Fine. Paper Frog. Enemies with vulnerable take 75% more damage rather than 50. I'll take the money because we've got a shop in the next space. Whirlwind. Whirlwind and Shrug It Off are both available here. I might want to consider removing a evolve. I suspect, in fact, I do. Okay. Curse of Regret. No, I don't put curses in this deck. Alright, Seeing Red. So Seeing Red. Let's get more options first. Do I Entrench Sword Boomerang? I can only deal 29 damage this turn. Most of the rest of my deck is damage. Is that true? Whirlwind, Anger, Anger Cleave, Iron Wave. Those are all utility. Actually, I think I need to take the damage while I have... Or rather, deal the damage while I have access to it. Dreamcatcher whenever you rescue mana cards to your deck. And we're probably not going to do that too often. Too many things to upgrade. Whirlwind is a really important upgrade. Take that one first. Ugh, yikes. I'm gonna throw out Seeing Red and Intimidate just so that I don't have to leave them in the deck. Not a huge fan of the fact that that spot weakness is there on turn 1, but yeah, it happens. I had to get the Shockwave out because the extra damage we'll deal from the Paper Frog is going to be really significant. Bye-bye. Centennial Puzzle gives us the first time you lose HP each combat, draw 3 cards, as well as Pummel, Thunderclap, Twin Strike. So Pummel is a way to deal damage in this deck with the spot weakness. I suspect I'm actually kind of happy to take that. Let's upgrade the Carnage. That extra 8 damage is going to be really, really impactful here in the early game, I feel. Singing Bowl. When any cards in your deck, you may raise your max HP by 2 instead. We probably actually don't care about that as much as we care about the Sapphire Key right here. Yep. We're not going to get too much max HP out of that, unfortunately. I think Seeing Red can afford to be upgraded as well. High enough cost in the deck. There's an Inflame. There's also Flash of Steel in here. Is Flash of Steel worthwhile? It's fine. There's also an Inflame? Inflame is pretty good. Yeah, Inflame is too good to turn down there. Inflame is also probably what gets our upgrade. Then Spot Weakness after this before the boss. Okay. Probably gonna get Whirlwind this turn and go for the lethal. No? It's unfortunate. I'll go for all the defense I can get. Unfortunately, I don't get the evolve out that turn, so our second cycle could be hellish. I'm actually going to Warcry right now. Never mind, I had lethal the whole time. I should have just done that. Whenever you add an attack card to your deck, upgrade it. Good to see, but not sure I'll be doing it. Sever Soul? That'll help us burn the power through effects. Maybe you take Sever Soul here. Sure. Some stranger things. Warcry to put Shrug It Off back atop the deck. And even got the most impactful card that I could have afforded to cast at that point in time. Couldn't have worked better if I'd scripted it While your HP is at or below 50%, you have 3 additional strength. That can be super, super useful for pulling us out of the fire. Spot weakness gets its upgrade finally. So Warcry can put that power through atop the deck. I feel like that's a good choice. Burn both of those wounds, and I also lose my Carnage that turn, but I'm happy to get rid of the wounds as early as possible. Actually, I shouldn't have been, right? Because I'm using the Anger as my damage in this deck. So the statuses that help me cycle back into that should be fine. Beautiful. So Limit Break after this combat makes the absolute most sense for us. But what else would we take? Fiend Fire? I mean, a lot of the attacks we would take just because they're pre-upgraded. Yeah, there's Immolate. So Immolate provides a lot of AoE damage for us. We have Whirlwind and we have 2 copies of Cleave. Do we need Immolate? I don't think so. Do we need Limit Break? Well, we have an Inflame, we have Spot Weakness, and we also have access to the Red Skull, so I think we are going Limit Break. Gain energy at the start of your turn. Future card rewards have 2 less cards to choose from. That's fine. That only affects my elite and my boss fights, which is such a small impact compared to the other 2. There's 1 4 elite path here, and usually I'd be dodging it to take all of these question marks, but we're in Vintage. I get more relics by fighting normal fights. Intimidate, Carnage, Sever Soul. It's not a great turn, but it has to happen. Ouch. At least we have lethal immediately thereafter. Bottle Tornado, upon pickup, choose a power card. Start each combat that in opening hand. That'll get the Inflame in my opening hand, or the Evolve. The Evolve is only important by the 2nd cycle, because the 2nd cycle is where I actually start drawing the status cards that I've shuffled into my own thing. Because, like, power through. Put the wounds in hand, not in your deck. So I can't draw them for Evolve. I'm just emphasizing the key words that the game is caring about there. Hand, deck, and draw. So Inflame in the opening hand so that Limit Break always has something to hit is a good idea. Is a Strength Potion more important than a Speed Potion or an Essence? It could be. It could guarantee us a kill on a turn earlier than we otherwise might have gotten it. That can be impactful enough. I think I'll actually entrench this turn. Just waiting for, like, Limit Break Whirlwind. Is Whirlwind enough by itself right now? I think it is. Fine. If we can only get 1 down that turn, honestly, I'm pretty enthused by it. I was thinking it was going to go a hell of a lot worse. I think I need the Ancient Potion there. I don't have any flexes or anything like that in my deck. Okay. Did you have to hit the one that was not vulnerable every time there? Dang it. Ugh. This deck needs defense from somewhere. Game, would you like to provide eventually? Or a Reaper. I'll just take a single Reaper. Every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 1 strength. Yeah. Reaper is going to be hard to get though, because, you know, 1 card is offered after a boss. Would Feel No Pain be useful? I don't think I burn enough cards for Feel No Pain to be useful. Stone Calendar. The end of turn 70 or 52 damage to all enemies, as well as the ability to weaken. We are going up against the Collector, and I have no weakness in my deck. I'm dropping the Essence of Steel for the weakness potion. That could weaken the enemy on 2 crucial turns where they're trying to deal a ridiculous amount of damage. This is to say, you know, I'm assuming that by that time, I'm not ridiculously powerful. Ooh, that Whirlwind is hard to turn down. Not the Whirlwind, sorry, the Shockwave is hard to turn down. I'll take the 3 strength over the top of it, because, yeah, I couldn't guarantee the enemy was attacking the turn afterwards. Beautiful. That'll get him done, and I even get a strawberry for myself. Hell yeah, a little bit of max HP. Evolve this early? I don't know about that. Yes, this is 11 with vulnerability and 75% damage up. 75% damage up, so it is, it'll take the 75, this will be 7, so it's 18. 18 in AoE. What about 13? If I use my strength potion, so 13. What's 75% of 13? Half of half. To find 25% and then just take it away. Half of half is 3. So it'll take it down to 10? Right? It's not going to be enough. It's 23. It's not enough to kill this mad gremlin. I'm gonna Warcry first, see if I draw the right. Oh, yikes, that's not gonna do it. Fine. I'm not gonna play Evolve, but I don't really have too much choice what I do here, I think. Yeah. So that mad gremlin survives on a little bit of HP. I get 5 extra cards drawn this turn at least. As it turns out, that also actually helps us get a ridiculous lethal the turn after. Bottle Flame, upon pickup, choose attack. Started combat without your own count, as well as pre-upgraded Combust. The Bottled Flame is very likely to be a Whirlwind sitch. Yeah. Whirlwind in the opening hand is absolutely ridiculous. In fact, I'll save the Whirlwind for the next turn. Ah, yes. The true power of Whirlwind. Art of War, if you don't play any attacks during your turn, gain additional energy next turn. Flame into Pommel. Yeah, maybe I should have just Whirlwinded that turn. The Evolve out there, definitely, just in case. I have, yeah, 2 cleaves left in the deck, so I'll Iron Wave the back line. Peace. Preserved Insects, enemies elite combats have 25% less HP. That's really good, because I have a couple of elite combats coming up. Just casual 3 of them in a row. Happy Flower, every 3 turns gain an energy. Elite combat number the first one. This one is over immediately. Okay, so 4x8, 16, 32. Yikes, it's actually short. So this does 75% of an extra strike each energy. So this is like dropping 50% of the damage from this. If this is 400%, this is dropping 50%. So it's, well, it's dropping 12.5% of the overall damage. Inflame Purse takes this to 13. I think I have to Shockwave, then Cleave. Oh, Whirlwind as well. But, ouch. I guess the idea is just get to another Cleave and then win. Really wish that happened. Alright, there we go. Oh, that whole HP sitch is looking a lot worse right now. Also, the enemy is casually threatening to murder me forever. Thank you. Girya, you can now gain strength and rest science up to 3 times maximum. Hilarious. When are we going to find time to do that? Cleave. And happy little carnage at the end there. Anchor as well as Fairy in a Bottle. Beautiful. Both of those are going to be so helpful in going for these extra 2 elites that I was actually starting to get very, very scared of. Or rather, of which I was starting to get very, very scared. There we go. Oh, hang on. That was not the correct way to do that sound. We have the weakness in Flame, Cleave, Sever Soul, Whirlwind. So this gets me just a single copy of my Shuriken off at the cost of a little bit of damage. Let's go straight for the kill. Beautiful. Feeling a lot better now. Gambling chip at the start of his combat draw. Discard any number of cards and then draw that many cards. Beautiful. The opening hand too often had been like Whirlwind and then nothing else that's kind of useful. This will help fix that. Anger. It comes into the deck pre-upgraded. I still don't think I take it though. It's a pummel. How many cards in the deck exhaust? 1, 2. Possibly. 3, 4, 5. That shouldn't start exhausting. This can exhaust other things. Yeah, I don't think we have enough to take Feel No Pain. Starting in elite combat with 2 strength is... You know, it's a little bit of help for us, but we shouldn't need it. Ideally. Pummel is lethal, right? So we definitely end up taking Pummel. Pommel Strike could be useful card draw. Yeah, I got energy after the first boss. I might get energy after the second boss as well, so Pommel Strike becomes more useful there. Is there anything here to card remove? The Entrench. Yeah, it's never gonna get good. I think I probably hold on to my money for the rest of this. Secret Technique is the only other thing that I'm considering. And I think I should take that, actually. And Blind? More weakness for the enemies. Yep. That was a really good shot right there. 44 damage to all enemies. Okay, beautiful. All these smooth stones started to combat with 1 dex, as well as a Metallicized. Pre-upgraded? I'll take it. We are lacking a little defense, and it's offered pre-upgraded, so sure. The upgrades on these, like, Limit Break is the only one that matters, but it's really important. Wild. Attack? Damn it. If that got me an attack, I would have had an extra 2 points of strength this turn. Shuriken would have gone off. Do I actually kill the chumps? I have to. Yeah, I need to buy myself the time from killing the chumps here. Cleave has already gotten one of these for me. let that happen. Metallicized Sword, Boomerang, and Pummel, I think. Gets me an extra point of strength. And burns Carnage, which isn't that good for us anymore. I don't have to target either torch heads there. Now it's time to pivot back to the Collector. Beautiful. Okay, so we are actually going to be able to lock up this kill really easily. Hopefully Reaper is the only thing offered to us after this, although, you know, somehow I have my suspicions that's not going to be the case. Collector, be generous. That's not anything. Snecko Eye draws 2 additional cards a turn. I think up until I included the secret technique in the blind, I would have taken that still. Fusion Hammer, you can only smith at rest sites, that's fine. I'm going to be getting energy from Girya anyway. We could have taken Orrery there for extra card decisions. We would have just been looking for defensive cards. That said, I think the extra energy from the Fusion Hammer, especially due to the fact that we have Whirlwind in the opening hand, so we can scale our damage in the opening hand to whatever energy we have. It seems like the extra energy overall is going to be more useful. There's the possibility of going for 3 elites, I think, is maximum. Okay. Sure. Oh my gosh! Secret technique out the... Just get all my strength on turn 1. Beautiful. Starting to find some pummels as well. Lovely. Mango, raising max HP for 14. I feel a lot better about my HP now. It's going to take a lot more effort to get me down to 0. Beautiful. Vajra. I think I have to keep the Fairy in the bottle just for the heart fight. That Flex Potion is always really appealing though. Flex Potion on turn 1. Yeah, Flex Potion on turn 1 I think is... It just destroys an enemy. It's too useful to turn down. This is an unfortunate turn for us, where I actually want to play like everything except for the Whirlwind, because that's so much setup we got there, rather. Secret technique pulls Limit Break. Vicoria, the merchant, restocks cards, relics, and potions, all prices decreased by 20%. That's one of the reasons that I actually wanted to go for this chain of normal combats early, because I'm following this path, and then after this, we go 1 rest, 2 rest, 3 rest, all of those the upgrades on Girya, right? I hit question marks in the middle and normal elites, but I've got a late shot. So we wanted to get relics that would affect that shot. Very pleased. Juju Bracelet, no limiting encounters and no longer encountered in question mark rooms. Yeah, that's fine. Now they're more likely to be relics again. Oh, come on! Ugh, I figured the damage was going to be worth the risk, but really? Largest hit you can do instantaneously. Thanks for that. One in the chamber coming right up. Lantern started to come back with additional energy. Yeah, that's really good for us. Oh, it's just more Whirlwind. Seeing red even sees suit to turn up. Beautiful. So Soul easily finds the Smiling Mask. Merchant's Carbon subs now always cost 15 gold. 50. Don't need the disarm there. Hoping for some shops now. Let's get our first lift. No, we have a shop later guaranteed anyway, so. Oh, Memorial, negate the next curses you obtain. If we could have gotten that just a little bit earlier. Enter the portal, travel immediately to the boss. How about I don't do that? Wow, we got really bad question marks there. Cycle the limit break as quickly as possible. Defend in the meantime. That's about it. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not going to play any attacks there so that I get the extra energy from the Art of War in the next turn, but... Oh, wow. Just ouch. Regal Pillow for an additional 15 HP when I rest. Havoc to play the top card of my deck for 0. In this deck, if that burns Limit Break, we lose. Okay, lift number 2. Hopefully I hold up decently against this elite so I don't have to lift the third. So that I can lift the third time, rather. Orange Pellets. Whenever you play a power, attack, and skill in the same turn, remove all the debuffs. So we don't do that often because we have, what, 3 powers maximum in the entire deck? It gives me the ability to remove the downside from the Flex Potion. Gives me the ability to remove the weakness, vulnerability, and frailty that are all applied to us on turn 1 in the heart fight, which helps to reduce the amount of defense that I'm going to need to generate on those turns. That said, I'm not generating enough defense on those turns. Like, oh, I've already missed out on being able to go for the Emerald Elite. Okay, fine. Yeah, we're not going for the heart. Beautiful. The heart was always going to be really, really difficult for this deck just because of how difficult it has been for us to find much defense. We're kind of rocking pseudo defense in weakness as well as a little bit of block, as well as some metallicize. Like, there's very, very little defense here. And because you have to take at least 4 turns to kill the heart because the heart has the invincibility triggers, that means you have to take 2 hits from the heart, which would just kill this deck. I was hoping that I would survive the first one being the multi-hit, and then the second hit would be the Fairy in a Bottle. It would trigger. Then I would just go all out on the next 2 turns and somehow win. I don't think it would have worked, especially without the ability to manipulate Limit Break back to the top of the deck, or the ability to get a Reaper so that I could heal up during the fight. Let's take Shrug It Off. Rage is actually like a lot, like a surprising amount of defense for us in a single turn. Thing is, I don't think I have enough draw to really support that yet. That said, Master of Strategy we should take. Oh, it would have been nice to have a second Master of Strategy there. That's so useful. So we are now just going straight at the... Oh, there's the Reaper as well! Game! Give me the wrong things at the wrong time. Just going for the bosses. That's all we've got. Pantograph we don't have access to, I don't think. Secret technique, by the way, is just... Oh my gosh. That's just access to Limit Break for us. Yeah, I don't think I have Pantograph, so I'm not healing in the boss fight. Dang. Oh, wow, that's... Even when I think I have things under control. He turns around and wallops me. Bronze Scales, started combo with 3 Thorns. Can't take that, can't take that. And I could rest here. I think I have to. As much as I want that extra point of strength. Intimidate. Yeah, I'll take that. Gets more artifact off these enemies. Oh my god, really? Oh, getting all that strength out on turn 1. Do I Flex Potion? I think because of the Whirlwind and the Cleaves, this fight's going to be easier for me than... Especially Time Eater. Time Eater is where I use the Flex Potion, I think. Evolve definitely has to go out because we know what these enemies are going to do. Beautiful. Yeah, the enemies are adding a bunch of days into my deck, so in the next cycle, the Evolve is going to pay a hell of a lot off. That is if we get to the next cycle, mind. Yeah, I was about to say, it is possible we don't even make it. There's the time eater. Good. Kept the right stuff at the right time then. Interestingly here, I'm not going to want a Whirlwind on turn 1. I just need as much of my setup as possible. Not a bad turn. Good usage of my energy. There's the limit break. It's a little early, but I'll take it. Evolve, path through, limit break. And then I have to play all of the rest of these? Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Shockwave, Intimidate, Seeing Red, and then Pummel. Just so that I don't get caught out on the wrong side of the Time Warp next turn. Only get to play 1 card or something like that. Oof. 1 card would be an upgrade, apparently. Anger? Do I put copies of Anger in this deck? I think yes. Yeah. I think we have enough strength that we do that. So the enemy is now going to start purging. My whole goal is get as much strength as possible. Unfortunately, with the secret technique in this hand, that's not really helpful. Hopefully I get Warcry here. Dang. Actually, I think I might just have lethal. Right? Yeah. Secret technique finds master of strategy. Yeah, let's just murder the enemy so that I don't have to worry about what I'm gonna do next turn. 2264. Neat. Neat run, all things considered. Unfortunately, because it didn't go to the heart, it didn't actually have much difficulty in it. The idea was that the difficulty would be proposed by the heart and starting to format my build to the heart. Unfortunately, forgot to go for that Emerald Elite. So in the next episode, I'm going to try and think about that a little harder. Until then, my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Cakewalk. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.